Let's be efficient. Let's be efficient with good news. There are certain things we must be efficient with. It's time and good news.
Yeah.
So I will allow 3 colleagues to speak. Thereafter, the candidate for Kwacha will speak. After that, the acting president will close the interview.
Yeah.
So I will start with close the convention. Gentlemen, one of the lawyers.
The lawyers, we can have the lawyers.
Okay, the lawyers are going to start. Honorable Makebi.
They can step forward.
Honorable Makebi stepping forward.
This council, what's the outcome of the day?
Just a doubt had been settled. There will not be any election in Kabushi and in Kwacha until the matter is tabled. It was imperative on ECZ, on the filing of our application, that the state has suspended the election pending the determination of this matter. But instead they did not. This proves to us that they are not as independent as they ought to be. In this particular case, the court has seen it fit that the matter be stayed until they determine this matter, which halfway has been done, in that the Constitutional Court has said a nullification is not a disqualification. We've agreed to proceed with the matter, and they have raised an issue which will be determined on Thursday. Then Friday we are coming to have the main matter heard. In which case we expect that by next week there should be a final judgment. But for now, there are no elections in Kabushi, no elections in Kwacha until the court determines. That is the rule of law, and that is the justice that we came here to seek. All other interpretations. Well, that is a constitutional reference that they made an application over. That is what they do. But for now, what we know is that we have to have this matter determined, and having been determined, elections in Kwacha, elections in Kabushi will not take place until the court determines the main matter.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, dear colleagues. Speaking on behalf of all MPs, for us as members of Parliament, an injustice on one is an injustice on all. And that is the reason why we've taken it upon ourselves to ensure that we engage in this fight, this legal battle, which we are happy that our lawyers are doing a good job in ensuring that the rule of law is indeed upheld. Even as we go back to Parliament, we strongly believe that once the elections are done, Comrade Malanji and Bowman will come back to Parliament. We will endeavor to ensure that institutions of governance, like the ECZ, are meant to work independently, because what we are seeing now leaves much to be desired. So I want to thank all of you, and indeed the party, for having taken a principled position not to fall prey to what they would have wanted us to do, to go with the injustice and substitute the candidates for other candidates, and yet our candidates or preferred candidates qualified to stand. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, okay. Thank you very much. I think this is a step in the right direction.
What our colleagues in the UPND reckon is that we are going to be weakened by what they are doing, by, in fact, interfering in the ECZ. I think they should stop doing that, because sooner rather than later, it will backfire on them. They will not be in government forever. But what I can say is that I think justice has prevailed today, and we are quite happy with the ruling that has come out today, and including what the Concord had said earlier. I think if they are sensible, reasonable enough, the UPND, I think they should just leave this matter and let us meet in the battlefield. That's all. With the Malanji in Kwacha and Bowman in Kabushi. Why do they want to stop them? Of course, it's because they are very popular. They are very popular. And you see, what they are doing, they don't realize that they are making more people, they are annoying more people. And sooner rather than later, you find that even those that did not want to vote, they are going to vote for Malanji and Bowman Lusambo. And they will be defeated with the shame. Yes.
Thank you. From our side, we've been very firm from the beginning that what the UPND is doing is basically trying to intimidate other participants in the electoral process. This case has got a history. If you heard what happened first, the UPND cadres went to the press and threatened the ECZ that if ECZ is going to receive nominations from Honorable Malanji, Honorable Lusambo, they will be taken to task. So from that threat, you notice that ECZ curved in and purported to issue that statement, which has been the subject of these proceedings. We are very grateful today that the courts have come to the aid of the Constitution, the court has come to the aid of all the players in the electoral process, and the court has come to the aid of the nation. This is not about the patriotic front, I must emphasize. People have been thinking that we've been fighting these battles because we're in the opposition. No, we are fighting these battles because of posterity for the nation. We will not be here in the next 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. Our children need to come and find a constitutional process that is respected by everybody. And we're expectant that with what is going to happen in the judicial review, we are going to be guided properly on what should happen. There is no way that an individual or a group of individuals can try and remove other people from the ballot paper because they think they don't like them. I had said before, and I should repeat, nobody was going to die if we had allowed Honorable Malanji and Honorable Lusambo to participate in the electoral process, because they are as qualified as all the other candidates. You've seen what is now happening. It's not only us who are complaining. There have been withdrawals from this electoral process. Why? Because people think that this election has already been predetermined. If it was going to go ahead in the way the UPND was trying to suggest it should go ahead, there was going to be a winner from UPND. But possibly there are going to be only 30 people who are going to go to the ballot box. We would like to ensure that this election is credible, is objective, is free and fair. And we're expecting that when we come back and the court guides, the UPND will respect the decision of the court, both of the High Court and the Constitutional Court. Thank you very much.
Honorable Bonanza, the main man.
Thank you very much. I don't think I will have much to say other than thanking the court for giving us this introductory stay. Zambia is democratic. It's the Zambian democracy. It's constitutional right. We have a constitutional democracy, and I don't want to say something that would actually have me cited for contempt, since my Learned Council has already said all what is supposed to be taking place for further hearing which come on Thursday. So I will just end up with that and consider all what the Learned Council has said, what is supposed to be for years. Thank you.
Thank you. And the acting president will sum it up now. Honorable Winda.
First, praise be to God. He is faithful to his people, and his faith has been shown on us today. Secondly, I have kept emphasizing the fact that the legal team that we put together cannot be matched. We had the best of brains representing us in these matters. They represented us very well in the Constitutional Court, where the interpretation of the Constitution was made very plainly by the learned judges. They have represented us very well in the High Court. And I want to assure Zambians that even the issue that has been raised today, the constitutional reference matter, is a matter that will not give us any sleepless nights. We're very confident that on Thursday, when the matter is heard, the judges will know that our lawyers are on the right side of the law. Third, I want to thank all members of the Patriotic Front. I mentioned yesterday that this was not about Malanji being on the ballot paper. This is not about Lusambo being on the ballot paper. This is ensuring that we fight injustices. An injustice that was caused on Malanji and Lusambo couldn't be watched without us taking action. So thank you very much, members of the PF, for not falling to the pressure that was being created by some people that we should replace Lusambo and Malanji with other candidates. Had we done that, we could have only won the fight, but lost the battle. Today, all of you who stood by the decision that we made, you have won both the fight and the battle. Because now you have written history. Never ever again shall any dictator decide on which candidates opposition political parties must have. In this particular case, Haga in the BMW, Haguripa, thought that he had the power to say to us that we shouldn't adopt Malanji and Lusambo, we should adopt other people. But we have shown him that using the law of the land, he cannot do it. And let me just say a few more things. Number one, the Electoral Commission of Zambia must not allow itself to be puppeteered by anybody. We were in government ourselves. I was Minister of Justice, and the ECZ was not falling under the Ministry of Justice. Who has decided all of a sudden that the ECZ must fall under the Ministry of Justice? It must be controlled by a minister. How can you call it independent?
Under 5 ministers.
Huh? So I want to call upon Hagainde. Hagainde, you have been telling the whole world that you're going to govern this country by the rule of law. The rule of law also dictates that the ECZ must be made to be autonomous. The only office of the land which can present the budget on behalf of the ECZ, on behalf of any commission, is the office of president, represented in parliament by the vice president, not a minister. No. Another matter. ECZ, the money you used to print illegal ballot papers is taxpayers' money. You should have known that the matter of the elections in Kabushi and Kwacha was still a matter subject to court process. What gave you the hurry, the speed to go and print ballot papers? After all, you printed ballot papers without stakeholders being involved. And you've even distributed ballot papers to Kabushi and Kwacha without stakeholders being involved. I want to assure you that the legal team of the Patriotic Front have already been asked to start a process against you, so that you yourselves should reimburse the money you spent on printing those useless ballot papers. We're not going to watch you spending money recklessly. We never did that. Ask you, who is reckless between you and Edgar Lungu? Who is reckless? Today you have proven that you are extremely reckless. Yeah. You take 5 days of Zambia's time, taxpayers' time. You go and campaign in Kabushi and Kwacha, and yet you knew that the matter was before court. Shame. Do you have any respect for courts? Zero chance. Hagainde, yesterday I said to you that I want to assure you, Hagainde, that you are not the only one. There are many other Zambians who are capable of handling the busy business of state craftsman. There are many other Zambians who can handle that office better than you are doing. If the business has become too heavy for you, that now you must be chasing after small Malanji,
You must be chasing after small Lusambo using state resources. And yet they are not even on the ballot paper. You go and campaign against them. Huh? How could you possibly do that? Now, I want to assure you, President Hakainde Hichilema, that now the weight that you wanted to avoid, the weight of bulldozer, the weight of bonanza, the weight of the patriotic front, the weight of the people of Kwacha and the weight of the people of Kabushi, my friend, now is going to fall on you like a ton of bricks.
Yes.
Because when they now tell us when to go and start campaigning, I can assure you that the crowds you saw in Kwacha when Malanje filed nominations, the crowds you saw in Kabushi, now I can assure you, you shall see a shock of your own.
Yes.
Because now the Zambians will turn up in numbers to show you that they're going to stop you from becoming a dictator.
Yes.
You were not voted for to be a dictator in Zambia. You were voted for to continue on the same trajectory that predecessors of yours were leading this country, a democratic state. As for us in the Patriotic Front, Hakainde, I assured you last year, soon after I was appointed, I said to you that unlike your UPND, which was antagonistic of PF, for us, we shall support you to make sure you govern properly. And in supporting you, when you do wrong things, we shall drag you to court. I also want to seize this opportunity to say, once again, the Zambian judiciary has acquitted itself. Kudos to the Zambian judiciary. There is no doubt in my mind that they were putting pressure on you. The evidence was seen when young Haimbe came to court and sat in court as if he was an official of the court. He wasn't an officer of the court. The moment that he became Minister of Justice, he stopped being an officer of the court. I was Minister of Justice myself. I never lowered myself to go to court and sit in courtroom to side with one group. As Minister of Justice, you are Minister of all people's justice. You can't choose that this one's justice is not important, only this one's justice is important. No. As Minister of Justice, you superintend over the justice of every citizen, whether you like them or not. On that day, Haimbe and the government of Zambia, through Haimbe, decided to go against the rights of Malanje and the rights of Lusambo by sending a minister in court to go and sit together with the Attorney General's chambers. He has no power to do that. We know the judiciary has been under tremendous pressure, but we are very happy that there are still some judges in this country who hold their oath of office as an important oath. We shall continue to support the judiciary. We will never ever insult the judiciary in the manner that the Hakainde used to call them. When he loses a matter, he calls them thieves. We will not do that. That is the reason why in the first place, when the seats of Malanje and Lusambo were nullified, we did not insult the judges. We said we shall fight in court, and we shall continue to do that. Praise be to God Almighty for this victory. Now, I want to say, afimbe apoke.
Just before you go, colleagues, some of you may be wondering as to what will be coming up on Thursday and Friday in court. So I like to think Counsel Ngulube Tutwa, let him just explain so that you know what is coming up in court.
Yeah, so anyway, there are a lot of questions as to what has happened today, why are you coming back on Thursday? I think you heard in brief history is that we went to the Con Court asking the Con Court to stop ECZ from blocking Honorable Malanje and Honorable Lusambo. And we presented 4 questions. The Con Court said they will not get into those other issues. They will just interpret the Constitution, and they interpreted the Constitution to mean Honorable Malanje and Honorable Bowman qualify to stand as members of Parliament in Kabushi. So we expected that the ECZ on their own, they would have cancelled the election and called for fresh nomination so that Honorable Malanja and Bowman appear on the ballot paper. When they didn't do that, we came to the High Court, asked the court to stop the election and allow us to argue the main matter. Today, as we are speaking, the High Court has stopped the election in Kwacha and Kabushi. The only thing they haven't said is that Bali should now come and work. That one I'm one saying it. The court has also said they will hear the main petition on Friday. Now, just when we were about to come out of court, Solicitor General produced some documents saying that they have made an application for constitutional reference. They want the matter to go back to the Concord. So anyway, the court has said we will not throw it out, we will hear you on Thursday. What we know is that the Concord has already said the power to deal with members of parliament and their nominations is with the High Court. They can only deal with the presidential candidates. So now telling us to say they want us to go back to the Constitutional Court, we won't comment, but we'll allow you to judge for yourselves who is wasting whose time. So we will come back on Thursday to hear whether the court should refer the matter back to the Concord or not. And then on Friday, we will come back to come and argue the main matter now, whether the ECZ was wrong in refusing to petition, in refusing to stop the elections or not. And I think all of us are aware here that in Kabwata they were so fast to cancel the election and call for fresh nominations because they were losing. In Lusaka Central they did the same. In Mandevu they did the same. But for this one, even after candidates have withdrawn from the election, the ECZ is still refusing to cancel the election. So we want to urge the people of Zambia that for now, as we wait for the court to make determinations, we now see where the dictatorship is. So let us not panic. Let's leave everything in the hands of the court until they decide. Then we will come back and say who the dictator is. I thank you so much.
Thank you very much, colleagues. Thank you.
If you had the gloves, it's going to come out very well.
Kuyatoka.